In an age of growing tribalism and identity politics, what if I told you there was a way to slow down or even stop the momentum that is driving society towards that fabric? What if I told you that reversing that trend would not have to require engaging in platitudes or overt displays of pandering to various demographics? What if I told you there was a system that would challenge the ethnic overtones perceived in our daily interactions and situations? What if a simple attachment applied to our identity could solve all problems regarding how we see the world, such that we would no longer remain beholden to the racial lens that often clouds our judgment? What if you could separate a mean glance, a rude cashier, or even an unfair boss from the overarching paradigm of tribalism upheld as the status quo? Well, now there is a way. It is called the Mars 360 religious and social system. This mark of the beast system proposes a radical shift in how we perceive ourselves and each other, allowing us to reevaluate how we judge situations that occur within our immediate environment. The core idea is simple yet profound. Our personalities are shaped not by earthly boundaries, but by the position of Mars at our birth. This might sound like science fiction, but consider this. For centuries, astrology has linked celestial bodies to human traits. Mars, the fiery red planet, has always been associated with aggression, violence, and death. Mars 360 takes this concept a step further, suggesting that these Mars influences run deeper than we realize. By understanding these influences, Mars 360 argues, we can create a more just and equitable society by creating new demographics based on negative personality traits. By assigning a number to each person which defines their Mars-influenced negative disposition, we have a means and way of challenging the ethnic connotations that humans typically assign to their daily interactions. Here, we create a society where our differences are not defined by the color of our skin or the place of our birth, but by the cosmic forces that have shaped us from the moment we were born. This perspective lays the foundation for humanity to finally achieve a one-world government. Under Mars 360, humans are divided into 6 categories. Each category represents a negative disposition that is posited to be influenced by the position of Mars at the time of one's birth. By allocating people into these categories, we place checks and balances on how people are perceived and stereotyped in public life. With Mars 360 highlighting the negative manifestations of Mars's influence on human behavior, a framework is created by which these manifestations could be tolerated by society. Mars 360 proposes that these influences manifest differently in each of us, depending on the planet's position at our birth. This is not to say that our lives are predetermined by the stars. Free will and individual experiences still hold immense power. But just as our genes provide a blueprint for our physical traits, our astrological makeup, according to Mars 360, offers insights into our inherent tendencies and predispositions. Mars 360 delves into the complexities of astrological influence, dividing individuals into 6 distinct personality types based on Mars's position at their birth, and seeing to it that laws are enacted that would protect the free expression of each inclination. Each type reflects a different facet of the Martian archetype, shaping our weaknesses and how we interact with the world. Mars is responsible for negative habits, such as poor face-to-face communication and interaction, hyperactivity and reckless thoughts, debauchery, hyper-opinionated cultural biases, laziness and disobedience, introversion, and silliness. The reason the idea of an outward display of Mars's position in an individual's birth chart is presented is because it would precipitate understanding, allowing people to prepare or know in advance how to deal with the individual and vice versa without having to go through any extended learning phase, which oftentimes gives rise to contention. The Mars 1, born with Mars in the first seal, these individuals born with the inclination towards blunt face-to-face communication and are also selfish and self-centered. The Mars 2, with Mars in the second seal, these individuals are suspicious, angry, and cold. The Mars 3, Mars in the third seal, causes natives to be restless and freedom-oriented. Many born under this placement are given to debauchery. The Mars 4, these archetypes are very sentimental, nationalistic, and ethnocentric, often lacking the ability to identify or tolerate traditions outside of their own. the Mars 5. Those born with Mars in the fifth seal have a strong proclivity to laziness and anti-authoritarianism. These types do not identify with the notion that humans have to work for a living or operate under authority, the Mars 6. The Mars 6 personality is the classic liberal that often downplays the importance of their own ethnic and national backdrop. These archetypes also lack care and concern for their appearance. For centuries, humanity has clung to earthly distinctions: race, nationality, religion. These labels have defined our identities, often leading to division and conflict. Mars 360 offers a radical alternative, a world where identity transcends these artificial boundaries. Imagine a society where your Mars personality type becomes your primary identifier. Instead of seeing someone as black or white, American or Chinese, we would see them as a Mars 1, Mars 2, a Mars 3, etc. This shift in perspective could dismantle the very foundation of prejudice and discrimination. Imagine a world where a Mars 1 personality born in China finds common ground with a Mars 1 personality born in Brazil, their shared Martian traits forging a bond stronger than any geographical or cultural divide. This is the promise of Mars 360. To unite humanity not by erasing our differences but by celebrating the cosmic forces that connect us all. This new framework would require a fundamental shift in how we view the world. It would demand a willingness to look beyond the familiar and embrace a new understanding of ourselves and each other. But the potential rewards are immense, a world where our differences rather than dividing us become the building blocks of a truly inclusive and harmonious society. Section 5. Cosmic Jurisprudence, Laws and Privileges under Mars 360. The implementation of Mars 360 would necessitate a complete overhaul of our existing social structures. This includes our legal systems like the United States Constitution, which would need to be redesigned to accommodate the nuances of a Mars influence-based society. Laws and privileges, instead of being based on earthly classifications, would be tailored to the unique flaws of each Mars-influenced personality type. For instance, Mars 1, with their natural selfishness and blunt face-to-face interaction, would have laws designed to protect this natural inclination, allowing them to be more abrasive without fear of attack. The Mars 2 would be given freedom of thought and allowed to express anger in line with their innate Mars influence inclination. The Mars 3 would be given more freedom in terms of what he can do with his own body and what he could consume. Drug laws could be suspended for this archetype. The Mars 4 would be given lenience when it comes to indirect forms of communication, with more freedom to engage in offensive speech towards other communities. The Mars 5 would be given leisure time and would not be obligated to work for a living or answer directly to any authority. The Mars 6 would be granted privacy and not bound to codes of dress or manner as defined by the prevailing culture. These types would be free from cultural constructs, with laws protecting their offensive facial expressions and appearance. Fairness takes on a new meaning under Mars 360. The potential for creating a more just and equitable society, where individuals are assigned to new demographics based on their inherent flaws, is undeniable. Section 6. A Mars 360 Utopia? Potential benefits of a cosmic society. The concept of Mars 360, while audacious, holds the potential to usher in a new era of peace and understanding. By shifting our focus from earthly divisions to our shared Martian heritage, we could dismantle the very structures that perpetuate prejudice and discrimination. Imagine a world where racism, nationalism, and religious intolerance become relics of the past. A world where people are judged not by the color of their skin or the place of their birth, but by their Mars-influenced personality traits, their selfishness, their anger, their debauchery, and biases. Imagine a world where education is tailored to the unique learning styles of each Mars-influenced personality type, where careers are chosen based on natural strengths and passions, and where social programs and laws are designed to support the specific needs of each personality. This is not to say that a Mars-based society would be a utopia. Conflicts and challenges would undoubtedly arise, as they do in any society. However, by limiting all buying and selling only to those who have joined the Mars 360 system, we mitigate the subversive and instigating elements that seek to undermine the goals of utopia. Addressing the challenges through the lens of our shared Mars-influenced identity, we could foster a greater sense of empathy, cooperation, and collective responsibility.